Hey guys, Luke here. I'm back in my normal setup, but what's not going to be normal is this round of footy. We have Anzac Day today, so there's 2 games on a Thursday. It's all over the shop. Teams are playing in Tamworth and all these country towns. It should be a really interesting round of footy. Now, just before we get into the video, guys, make sure you go ahead and leave a like on this video if you happen to enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Rightio, let's get into the tips. The first game of the round sees the Sydney Roosters taking on the St. George Illawarra Dragons. It's a 4 PM kickoff. It's at the SCG. I think this is going to be a very, very good game. Potential to be match of the round. Now, the Roosters, they're just in incredible form. But one thing to note is that Luke Keary is not playing Latrell Mitchell into the halves. And I don't know what to think of Latrell Mitchell in the halves. I think he has potential to be a phenomenal 5'8". But at this point, he's kind of quiet in the 5'8" position. But he's finally found some form moving from the centers back into the 5'8" position. You know, it could be a master stroke. Who knows? But I think Cooper Cronk will still be able to steer the ship around. Of course, you'll be able to. The Dragons are actually playing very, very well. Bit fortunate to pick up the win last week in front of the home crowd, but they got another win. I think they're 4 on the trot at the moment. So the Dragons are actually going very, very good. And I do think they play a sort of style that will go really well against the Roosters. And with the Roosters playing the Storm last week, it was such a tough game for them. I mean, you know, the Storm having the big comeback and then Roosters having to rise again to still end up winning the game. You know, Luke Keary injured. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dragons do come and pull up, you know, pull an upset here. I do think it'll be a tight one, but I think your smart money is on the Roosters. They're just so good, so consistent. You can't go past them, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dragons do pull off an upset here. They just have that side that I think will sort of mash it with the Roosters, at least for a good majority of the game. But I am going to be tipping the Sydney Roosters 1-12. On to the second game of Thursday night, we have the Melbourne Storm taking on the New Zealand Warriors. Now, this game, I don't expect to be that good of a game. The reason being is the Warriors are going to be missing a lot of players. The Storm, although they had a very, very, you know, you'd think taxing performance last week, it was such a hard game against the Roosters. You think they could be drained, but the Storm, they just seem to be able to back it up. And I mean, the Warriors, they went down in front of their home crowd last week to the Cowboys, adding the fact that Tuivasa Sheikh's out, Blake Green's out. There's someone else, I believe, who's out as well. I can't think of it at the moment, but yeah, most of their key players are out. Therefore, I'm thinking the Storm are going to win this one quite comfortably. But you never know with the Warriors. They're such like a hot and cold side. Every year we say it. I thought Sean Johnson might have been the problem, you know, being hot and cold in that. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to matter who's in their side. They're still hot and cold. It just seems to be a Warriors thing. But complete opposite to the Storm. Storm's so consistent. I'm expecting the Storm to win 13+. On to Friday night, we have Mike Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs taking on the North Queensland Cowboys. Now, I think this one has potential to be an absolute stinker or a really good game. Who knows? It just depends what sort of outfits turn up for both these sides. Both have the potential to turn it on. We've seen at times the Bulldogs this year have looked really, really good. They've also looked absolutely awful. Same can be said about the Cowboys. Every now and again, they show glimpses of being very, very good. Michael Morgan steering the ship around brilliantly at the moment, but he just needs a little bit more support. Last week, he got that support. Josh Maguire, very, very good. Rest of the fullback, very, very good. I just think that their backline still lacks a lot. There's a lot to be desired there, but there's a lot to be desired in this Bulldogs side as well. I mean, they're so hot and cold. I was talking about the Warriors being so hot and cold. The Bulldogs, they're the perfect example of a team that's hot and cold. They find themselves at the bottom of the ladder. Have they been the worst team overall this year? Probably, but they've also showed signs of being very, very good, like the game against the Tigers. Who do I think's going to win this one? It's hard to say. I mean, my heart says the Bulldogs. I'm a Bulldog supporter. Head says Cowboys, just because the Cowboys, you think Michael Morgan, they've got the more superstar. Their forward pack's very, very good. But I just think at home, the Bulldogs weren't that far off last week against the Rabbitohs. I think they might pull off an upset here against the Cowboys. So I'm going to go the Bulldogs 1-12. On to the second game of Friday night, we have the Penrith Panthers taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Now, obviously, a lot of controversy in the Penrith camp. Gus Gould, I know he's not their coach, but he has big involvement with the Penrith side. He's gone. It's just Ivan Cleary now. Ivan Cleary's finally got rid of him. There's a lot of talk that those two didn't get along. So, I don't know. Maybe that's going to clear things up at the Panthers. Who knows? It's hard to say because, like we said, Gus Gould wasn't directly a coach or anything, but, you know, there were rumors going around that, you know, he did do a little bit of coaching. He had a big influence on the side. But yeah, I just don't know what to think with this game. If you're going off form, you have to go the Rabbitohs. If you're going off who's the better team overall, I think you still have to go the Rabbitohs. I'm really impressed with the Rabbitohs this year. Although the last few weeks, they haven't been that impressive. I just talked about the Bulldogs game. They never really put the sword into the Bulldogs. Bulldogs just hung around the whole game. But the Rabbitohs, they did enough to get the job done. And I don't know, they just keep doing it. I can't see the Penrith Panthers beating them. Although the Panthers, they're the sort of side that they can turn it on. They've got a lot of, you know, a lot of young players who can really turn it on. Even the old fellas like Maloney and that. But, you know, Wonga Blake, it could be a standout game for him. Mansour, just the backs aren't really doing anything, but this could be the game that they explode. They could put it all together, or it could not be. It's really, you don't know what you're going to get with Penrith at this point. It's really weird saying that, considering going into the season, I thought they'd be a super consistent side. They'd be very, very good, right up in the top 4, but it's just not been the case. But maybe with all the controversy this week, that would inspire them to sort of come out and put in a top-notch performance, but I just don't see it happening. I'm going to go to the Rabbitohs 1-12. Now on to Super Saturday, we had the West Tigers taking on the Gold Coast Titans, and this game is being played at Scully Park. It's in Tamworth. I was up there last year for it. I didn't go to the game, but I was just around the area. A few Tiger supporters up there. I'd say a lot more than the Titans. Now, it's going to be really weird looking at this one just because of how bad last week was for the Tigers. Just the Eels demolished them. But, I mean, is that just like was that just a fluke sort of thing? Was that just a one-off? Or is that just how the Tigers are? They're just not that good. Tigers have had a few performances like that. I was just talking about the Bulldogs beat the Tigers and put a bit of a score on them. I mean, the Eels obviously put a score on them as well. But last week, everything just seemed to go perfect for the Eels. Just one of those games. Robbie Farah was out injured early. Moses Zumbai went to hooker. It was a bit of a weird one. It's not the general reshuffle that you would have expected. But, I mean, the Titans, they finally got a win. You know, they've been playing okay, but not outstanding, but they've been getting a few wins as of late. But the Tigers, I would expect them to bounce back. It's just, it feels really weird to be saying them probably going to be tipping a team that got 51 points put on them last week and only scored 6 himself. But I don't know, I just have a feeling the Tigers will bounce back. A lot of the times when teams get a hiding like they did last week, they bounce back the next week. And Michael Maguire, I'd expect he would have been ripping into them this whole week. So you think they'd be all fired up in front of a country crowd. I would expect to be mostly Tigers supporters or neutrals. So I don't think the Titans will have too much support up there. But, yeah, the Titans definitely have the potential to get a win here. I just think the Tigers will bounce back, though. And I do think they'll get a pretty good win. I'm going to go the Tigers 13+. Now, into the final game of Saturday, we have the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Cronulla Sharks. Now, I think this could be a really, really good game. It just depends on how the Broncos play. Both have some very, very exciting plays. You know, the Sharks got Sean Johnson. Even Townsend's playing alright, but Fafita, you know, Zeri's playing pretty good at the moment. But the Broncos obviously have a very similar plays in terms of, you know, James Roberts very, very fast up against Zeri, or Sherry, or however you pronounce it. You know, Anthony Milford, Nick Arima. Both have very, very good attacking plays. The defense has been a little bit lackluster. But yeah, the Broncos, I'm not sure what to think about them. I keep saying it every week, going, is this going to be the week that they finally play well? I don't think they're going to play outstanding this game. I wouldn't expect them to come out and put a hiding on Sharks or anything, but I do think they might get the win here. I think they're due for a win. Sharks have been playing alright, but they haven't been outstanding themselves. Obviously, a bit of a comeback win last week, but it was only against the Panthers. Going into the season, it sounds like it'd be a big win, but the Panthers have been so disappointing this year, so it's not really that big of a win for me. But, yeah, Sean Johnson finding his feet at the Sharks. He's playing very, very well. But I just think the Suncorp crowd, it's so hard to go up to Brisbane and get a win there. I do think the Suncorp crowd will bring the Broncos home. And I do think the Broncos will get the job done 1-12. It's not a confidence hit, but I'm going to go Broncos. Now, on to Sunday afternoon football, where the Manly Warringah Seagulls taking on the Canberra Raiders. Now, for me, this is the one that I've been debating the most. I don't know who to take in this one. Both sides have their reasons to take them. There's no real clear-cut favourite, in my opinion. The Raiders got the job done against Brisbane last week in front of the home crowd. Obviously not playing at home this week. Manly have been very, very good in front of the Lotto Land crowd. They seem to lift, and actually they've just been playing very, very good in general lately. Des Hasler's got them playing well. Cherry Evans is leading them around brilliantly. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know who to take. The Raiders have the potential to be very, very good. Same can be said about Manly. Raiders away from home, do they travel well generally? No, but this year they've been alright away from home. Manly, I don't know. I really don't know who to tip. Both sides have been in pretty good form. I think if you're looking at who's got the better overall team, I think the Raiders, but I think just because it's in front of the Brookvale Lotto Land crowd, I'm going to go Manly. I'm going to go Manly 1-12. Now into the last game of the round, we have the Newcastle Knights taking on the Parramatta Eels. Now going into this, you just think Eels, impressive last week, definitely has to be the Eels, right? I'm not so sure. The Knights, once again, every week, I was just saying this previously with the Broncos, every week I say, Knights, is this going to be the week? Maybe it's going to be this week. I don't know. A lot of pressure on Nathan Brown. Are they going to lift, you know, have an inspirational performance to help their coach out? I don't think so. Parramatta, very, very good last week. I don't expect them to get anywhere near that score that they did last week. 51 points, 51-6 win against the Tigers. I think that was just a bit of a fluke victory. You know, all the cards aligned for them. I mean, you know, the new home crowd, or new home stadium, I should say. Home crowd all fired up. They got some early lucky breaks very early on. You know, the 7-tackle set, runaway tries and that just killed the Tigers very, very early on. Killed their spirit. I don't think they'll happen against the Knights in front of their home crowd. But I do think the Eels will have enough to get the job done. Do I think it's going to be 13 plus? I don't really know. I don't really know what I think the scoreline is going to be. I don't think the Knights will win. I think the Knights will be a little bit better than they have been. But I think the Eels are the real deal this year. I think the Eels will win this. I think safe bet 1 to 12 Eels. So guys, those are my tips. It's been no secret that my tips this year have been absolutely shithouse. Well, like, just this year, or, you know, let's just say in general, my tips have been shithouse. But let me know in the comment section below, what are your tips this week? Now guys, if you did happen to enjoy this video, please make sure you go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're around here. Also go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's Mr. Luca YT. It's on the screen right now. Also go ahead and add me on Snapchat. It's also Mr. Luca YT. And while you're at it, leave a like on my Facebook page. I've been posting there a hell of a lot more, so go ahead and give my Facebook page a like. Righto guys, that's all I gotta say. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.